Hey everyone, Wazoo here with the Summons from Gallifrey podcast. This is the podcast that focuses on the classic British television series Doctor Who. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've had our last episode. I think the last published Series 1 wrap-up was in March of 2022, and it is now October 31st of 2022. Yeah, so I've been planning out over the past month, I've been planning out the next season for this podcast, and I thought I would kind of share some updates as well as go through some recent news that has kind of hit the series thanks to the BBC. It is just a few days after the finale episode of Doctor Who number 13, played by Jodie Whittaker. She just finished regenerating into David Tennant, who takes over as the 14th Doctor. Off and on, I've been catching the new Who. I do know who most of the actors are, and of course, David Tennant is probably one of the most famous actors to take on the role of playing the Doctor. He had some amazingly written stories, so I'm going to be curious to see what they do. But yeah, we'll talk about that more in a little while. First up, I just wanted to just make a mention of how this podcast is going to be sort of evolving for season 2. I think I'm going to be doing both YouTube and regular podcast recordings. I'll have a co-host. I think I just mentioned that, but I'm not sure. I'll be having a co-host for this show. We're going to try that out and see if it makes a difference in terms of what the show format is going to sound like. One of my great friends, Collin LeGault, is going to be joining me, and he's not so much. He's seen a lot of classic Who, but at the same time, he's a lot more a follower of the newer versions of Doctor Who over the classic ones. So it'll be kind of interesting to see his take on some of the stories that we'll be tackling. So we're going to be recording that episode, I believe, tomorrow. We've got it scheduled. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to edit it to get it released. But it is on its way, at least the trailer for the second season. And then we'll get going throughout the remainder of 2022 and into 2023. So speaking of 2023, as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have the new Doctor Who logo, which was unveiled just maybe the next day after the last episode aired of Jodie Whittaker regenerating. And it's definitely a callback to Tom Baker's Fourth Doctor logo era. And this is an amazing looking logo. I wish it was always like this. So kudos to the designer, whoever was involved in putting this together. It looks incredible. Okay, so just announced last week, let's go through some of these articles that have been published recently to try and catch up on some of the news that's been dropping in the Doctor Who universe. So Disney Plus gets global rights to BBC's Doctor Who series. So this was reported on October the 25th, 2022. And let's just go down here and skim. So the Walt Disney Company has inked a deal that will see the popular BBC series Doctor Who land on Disney Plus around the world. The deal was announced Tuesday morning by Ncuti Gatwa, the actor taped to play the next Doctor during a taping of Live with Kelly and Ryan. So not really the next Doctor, but maybe we'll go over that in a few minutes here. We are thrilled, blah, blah, blah. Let's go down a little more. So Alyssa Bowen, the executive in charge of Disney Plus, said the show will stream on the Disney platform in more than 150 markets around the world starting later next year. Okay, so the deal came into greater focus on Tuesday, with the BBC retaining domestic broadcast and streaming rights in the United Kingdom and Ireland, and Disney Plus scoring international streaming rights to the show. When new episodes of Doctor Who land on Disney Plus in November 2023, the show will stop airing in the United States on BBC America and will no longer be available to stream on AMC Plus. Older episodes will still be available to stream on HBO Max, a spokesperson told the entertainment publication Decider. So let's break this down a little bit. So starting in November 2023, that's presumably when Ncuti Gatwa takes over as the 15th Doctor. Again, I'm really curious how they're going to roll out the next few episodes. So according to this article, according to the latest news there is, it might change, of course, between now and November 2023, but the BBC retains the rights to Doctor Who within the United Kingdom and Ireland. And throughout the rest of the world, it will belong to Disney+. So starting with every episode of Ncuti Gatwas going forwards, it will just be on Disney+, with I'm presuming, the Christopher Eccleston, I can never say his last name right, apologies, Christopher Eccleston up to the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, that might just be permanently available on HBO Max. And the classic Doctor Who remaining on BritBox. So I contacted BritBox to ask about this and to see if there were any changes coming for Classic Who, to see if the rights were changing since BritBox streams outside of the UK, and I'm getting it here in Canada, so I'm getting it here in Canada on BritBox, and it's available, of course, around the world through the web. And the latest information I got from them was that nothing was happening, nothing was changing with Classic Who. It was still remaining on BritBox. So we'll still, even after November 2023. So we'll still see what happens when that comes. Of course, anything might change between now and then. Sometimes things do. And as for the stories and the episodes from Christopher I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce that correctly. Christopher Eccleston up to Jodie Whittaker. They will be presumably available still on HBO Max. So at any rate, so that's where the three areas are, the three kind of generations. I don't know if you want to use that word, generations of the show will be. Now, starting, let's see. I don't know if they mentioned it in this article. Nope, not mentioned in this article. So let's go to another one. Okay, so this is the BBC Media Centre. So this is the official, one of the official announcements of this deal. BBC and Disney branded television joined forces on Doctor Who. Disney Plus to become new global home for upcoming seasons of Doctor Who outside the UK and Ireland. BBC continues as Doctor Who's exclusive home in the UK. Okay, so as we kind of went through and discussed, let's see. So just some quotes from Russell T Davies saying this is the best show in the world, blah, blah, blah. And the BBC content officer being excited about making this deal in order to reach new heights and new audiences. And okay, so here's the piece I wanted to highlight. The new episodes of Doctor Who will return to screens in November 2023 to coincide with the 60th anniversary, and will premiere exclusively on the BBC for the UK and Ireland. David Tennant will play the 14th Doctor for 3 specials before Ncuti Gatwa takes over the role as the 15th Doctor over the festive season. Okay, so let's stop right there. Let's piece that apart. So right now, if you missed the final episode, I did. I know I did. Ratings have been going down throughout the entire run of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and we'll see how things shape up for the season of the 15th. I think that's one of the main reasons behind bringing back David Tennant. He's, like I was saying earlier, arguably one of the most iconic actors playing the role, and they must be doing this for some kind of ratings grab to try and get people back. I think they lost a lot of people throughout Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall's run, and we will see what transpires. I might be watching the David Tennant episodes. I kind of wish that they would actually kind of spread them out. I think from the last reports I've seen is that there's going to be these 3 specials that are mentioned here in the articles will be run consecutively in November, and then right into regeneration into Ncuti's Doctor. So I was kind of hoping that they would maybe change their minds on this, and maybe throughout next year, throughout 2023, spread them apart and keep the conversation going for a lot longer than just October, November. So let's say, for example, they have an Easter special in April or May, and then they've got a I don't know, like a September kind of special, like an August, late summer type of special, and then the final one in November leading up to the regeneration into the 15th. I think that would, at least if I was programming it, I would try and hit some kind of schedule like that in order to just keep the conversation going throughout the year instead of sort of one big blast. But that's the way that they're planning to play this. They also released the new logo, as I mentioned, which is what you see in the background here, which is amazing. I think it's a very fantastic logo, really well done. Some of the best stories. Some of the best stories are done by David Tennant. I think out of the New Who stories, I think one of my more favorite Doctors has been Matt Smith. I think he's definitely one of my top number 1 or 2 Doctors of the new kind of stories. David Tennant is definitely up there, but Matt Smith is my number 1. But I'll still be probably checking out these 3 specials to see kind of how the writing is, how Russell T Davies is trying to bring the show back, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But as for the podcast, let's go back to the podcast. After all, that's what this is about, eh? As for the podcast, I will still be doing, for the moment, focus on the classic Who eras. So from William Hartnell up to Sylvester McCoy, so the first 1 through 7 Doctors. And I've got I think a neat little device to show off while we do our trailer for season 2. I'm really looking forward to shooting that. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Collin's really excited. I'm really excited to be working with Collin on this. I think we have a good repertoire, and we both have a huge interest in classic Doctor Who. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait to get started on it, and I'm really looking forward to bringing out season 2 for everyone. So if you liked what you saw, or if you like what you hear or like what you saw, then please subscribe to this channel on YouTube, as well as subscribe to the podcast on wherever you get your favorite podcast shows from. Be sure to leave a review at Apple Podcast or on Google. It really helps the algorithm spread the show around when you leave a review. So please leave a 5-star review and why you liked the show. And we will see you in the next episode. Have a really great day or evening wherever you are, and talk to you next time. Peace.